All right, let's dive into something that's absolutely critical for both massage therapists and their clients, the 8 core ethical principles that really define professional care.
It seems like a simple question, right? But the answer, it goes way deeper than just how good someone's technique is. What's the real difference between someone who's just skilled and a true healthcare professional you can trust?
And the answer really is a code of ethics. It's this invisible framework that guarantees safety, respect, and trust. It's a promise, really, that your well-being is always, always number one. So today, we're going to break down the 8 principles that make up this essential code.
Okay, so our first set of principles, they're all about putting the client right at the center. This means every single decision, every action has to prioritize their safety, their dignity, and their well-being above absolutely everything else. This first one is the bedrock of everything, respect for persons. It means you see every client as a unique individual who has the right to make their own choices about their own body and their treatment. It's way more than just being polite. It's about fundamentally honoring who they are and their right to choose. Okay, let's put this into practice. Picture this scenario. An RMT is talking to a new transgender client and asks, "What do you want me to call you? Your real name or your chosen name?" Now, the therapist might think they're being thorough, but the phrasing here, it can be incredibly invalidating.
And right there, that's a classic ethical failure. Even if it was unintentional, the wording disrespected the client's identity by suggesting one name is more real than the other. The professional, respectful way to ask is so much simpler. What name do you use? That small change makes all the difference in upholding a person's dignity.
Next up, we've got a powerhouse duo, beneficence and non-maleficence. Beneficence is all about actively doing good, promoting the client's health. And non-maleficence is that famous oath you've probably heard, first do no harm. They're really 2 sides of the same coin, always aiming for positive results and preventing any harm. So what happens when this goes wrong? Imagine you're on the table and you mention feeling a little dizzy. That's a huge red flag, right? It's your body telling you something isn't right. For a therapist to just ignore that, well, that's not a neutral act. It's a choice to risk harm. Yeah, the ethical issue here is crystal clear. The RMT failed in their most basic duty to do no harm. The right thing to do, the professional thing, would be to stop immediately, check in, maybe change the client's position, and make sure they're safe before even thinking about continuing.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about the foundations of professional conduct itself, honesty and accountability. These principles are all about the therapist's own behavior, making sure they are reliable, truthful, and totally responsible for their work.
So what is accountability really? It's about owning everything you do, the good and the bad. It means keeping detailed records, being willing to admit when you've made a mistake, and holding yourself to professional standards without any excuses.
And here's a perfect, and unfortunately common, example of where that can fall apart. Forgetting to write down your treatment notes isn't just a simple paperwork error. If that client calls back later with a problem and you have no record, you have no way to properly figure out what happened. You can't take responsibility.
And this idea of accountability leads us right into our 5th principle, which is all about honesty and transparency. Just look at the difference here. On one side, you've got dishonest practices, like promising you can cure something or sneaking in hidden fees. The ethical path is total transparency, being straight with people about realistic results and being crystal clear about costs from the very beginning. That's how trust is built.
And this ties directly into another huge one, competence. Being a professional means you're always learning, but you have to do it the right way. So if a therapist wants to learn a new skill, like intraoral massage, the ethical path is non-negotiable. You get formal training, you get certified. Just watching a few YouTube videos and then trying it out on a client, that's not just unprofessional, it's reckless. It's a major breach of this principle.
Okay, for our final section, we're diving into what I think is the sacred space of the therapeutic relationship. We're talking about privacy and boundaries. This is all about protecting that professional trust by keeping client info safe and maintaining a strictly professional dynamic.
Let's be clear. This one is completely non-negotiable. Everything a client shares with you, from their phone number to their deepest health concerns, is private. Period. It has to be protected, stored securely, and never, ever discussed casually, especially in public spaces.
So, what does a breach actually look like in the real world? It's often quieter than you'd think. Picture this. 2 therapists are chatting in the clinic hallway about a client's anxiety issues. Even if they don't use the client's name, someone in the waiting room could overhear. And just like that, trust is shattered. It's a massive violation.
Think of professional boundaries as the clear, bright lines that keep the relationship safe, healthy, and focused only on the client's needs. This means no dual relationships, where you're also their friend or business partner or romantic interest, because that creates a conflict of interest and can easily lead to exploitation.
The classic example, of course, is an RMT dating a current client. This creates a huge power imbalance and makes objective care pretty much impossible. The rule is simple and strict. The therapeutic relationship has to end completely before any personal relationship can even be considered, and that means referring the client to a different therapist to protect them and their care.
So we've looked at all these different principles. How do they all fit together? Well, don't think of them as just a checklist of rules. Think of them as interconnected pillars, the 8 pillars of trust that hold up the entire therapeutic relationship.
That's it. 8 core principles. Each one is absolutely essential, and each one builds on the others to create this solid foundation of safety, respect, and true professionalism.
So let's run through them one last time, all together. We have respect for persons. We have beneficence and non-maleficence, doing good while doing no harm. Then there's accountability and honesty, confidentiality and maintaining professional boundaries, and finally, competence, always working within your training. That's it. That's the whole framework.
And that really is what it all boils down to. At the end of the day, these aren't just rules to keep you out of trouble. They are how we actively build the single most important thing in any healthcare setting, trust. It's the promise that makes the treatment room one of the safest places a person can be. Thanks for tuning in.